But how we can solve the problems that we have seen in the previous video? The first idea is like to put everything into the one place. So let us keep all of the data regarding the to-dos in one place. And this was the concept of the store, that let us have an store that keeps all of the data, and list component, instead of calling the API, reads the data from this store, and the create component puts the data into the store. So whenever we are creating a new to do, create component will put the data into the store, and then store notifies all of the other components like list component that the data has been changed. So here is the new list of the to-dos that you should render, and list components will be re-rendered and with the new data, and in this way we can have the communication between these two components. And this was the idea of the Redux, and Redux implemented this as a solution for the state management, one of the libraries that provided this kind of solutions. And I personally used Redux in the past, and I really enjoyed working on it. And the concept is like that: let us separate the representation of the data from the data itself. And in Redux we have a concept of the store, that all of the data that will be kept inside the front end and will be shown to the user will be kept inside the store, and the other components are subscribing to this store, and whenever some kind of data changes, these components will be notified, and React re-renders these components, and then they will show the new value. And let us see the Redux architecture. Here we imagine we have an application that uses that stores the value of the user, the amount of the money that he has inside his online wallet. And now we have some kind of action inside this application. We can deposit, we can withdraw from this application, and we want to have a single page application that user sees his balance all of the time. And in Redux, the concept is like that: we have a UI, user interface, and everything that user does is kind of an action. For example, if a user clicks on a button, this is an action. If user fills the data inside a form, this is an action. And whenever an action happens, we have a dispatch function which triggers this action. That, for example, in this case, in this video that you are seeing, at first we have a balance of the 0, and now user triggers a deposit, and this is a button that, for example, it clicks on deposit $10, and this will trigger an action. An action is an object which has two properties. One of them is the type of the action, which is in this case is deposit, and the payload is the actual value that this action has, which is in this case 10. So whenever user does this, we are triggering an action which is type of the deposit, and the value of 10, and the store is listening to all of the actions. And inside the store we have a concept of the reducer, and the job of the reducer is to get the action and process the action and update the state based on the action that is happening. For example, if the first value of the balance of the user was 0, and then we added an action for the deposit of the 10, the reducer will sum this 0 with 10 and puts this new 10 as a new value for the new balance as 10 inside the store. And this is the whole flow, and all of the other components that are interested in the value of the balance will listen, and when this happens, store updates and notifies all of these components. And if, for example, if we have a header component that shows the balance inside that, this component will be notified that the balance has been changed, and then it will be re-rendered, and this time as a balance it doesn't get 0, it gets 10, and then it renders this 10 as a new value. So in this case we can communicate indirectly between different components that are working with the same set of the data. And this This helps us to achieve our goal and to have a single page application that users don't have to refresh the page, and different parts of the application will communicate through the store. So whenever the data changes, all of the relevant parts will also be updated.